What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I want to talk about our number one draft pick, Aj Terrell, out of the University of Clemson. But as always, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. Hit that like button for your boy. I appreciate all of you guys for continuing to support the channel. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. So yesterday, with our number 16 pick, we did select defensive back Aj Terrell out of the University of Clemson. I was really shocked by the pick when it first came through, because I did believe that the Falcons were going to take K'Lavon Chaisson, who was still on the board. To me, he was the best player available still on the board as far as edge rushers. And as you know, we still do need another edge rusher because we only signed Dante Fowler. We do have Tat McKinley, but he's kind of injury prone at this point. He's injury prone. We don't know what we're going to get out of him from year to year. I believe the most sacks he's had in the season is 7. Within his first 3 years, he hasn't had a double-digit sack season yet. I don't want to necessarily call Tack a bust, but I did think that edge rusher or defensive tackle were more important than going with a cornerback at number 1. But not to be a Debbie Downer, I do like Aj Terrell. If you go back and look at my first mock draft that I did about a month or two ago, I did have us taking Aj Terrell in the second round. I had K'Lavon Chaisson with our first pick, and then I had Aj Terrell coming off the board in the second round with our 47th pick. I do kind of understand why the Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff reached at this point. If you've seen yesterday, a lot of the GMs and a lot of teams, a lot of cornerbacks were coming off the board. As you know, Jeff Kuda came off the board early to the Detroit Lions at number 3. And then also, as no surprise, CJ Henderson came off the board early. So I believe that Aj Terrell, they said, was the guy that they were targeting the whole time. I broke down in my first mock draft why Aj Terrell, why I thought Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff would like Aj Terrell. He is one of those longer corners at 6'1". He has very long arms. He's very explosive, and he's a playmaker. He does make make big plays in big games. A couple things that I like about the kid is that he did play in a lot of big games at Clemson. He did win a national title with them 2 years ago against Alabama. He did play in a title game again this year where they lost to LSU. But the kid is very explosive, a great athlete. One thing I love about him is the speed that he has. He has a ton of speed, and he does a good job at the point of the catch, at being aggressive and trying to pick the ball off. He's not one of those corners that's going to bat the ball a lot. He is a guy that's going to gamble and take chances. And as you know, I do like cornerbacks that take chances. That was one of the things that I loved about Robert Alford. I was in the minority of the Falcon fans that actually liked Robert Alford. I thought that Robert Alford, at times, he did get penalties because he was ultra aggressive, but he also made huge plays because he was extremely aggressive. So it's kind of like that high risk, high reward type player. And that's what Robert Alford was. I don't know if Aj Terrell is the same exact player as Robert Alford when it comes to high risk, high reward. But I did see when I was watching tape on Aj Terrell, he was beat on a couple double moves and stuff like that because he likes to peek into the backfield. When the quarterback has the ball in his hands, he likes to peek in the backfield and try to get a feel for, when the ball is coming out. He likes to anticipate, and he likes to jump routes and things of that nature. So that's something that he's definitely going to have to be careful with in the NFL, especially playing in our division with Drew Brees, and with Tom Brady, that like to manipulate the cornerbacks and safeties with their eyes. He's going to have to be very careful with double moves, and he's going to have to be very careful with jumping routes. But I do like that Aj Terrell is a playmaker. He is one of those longer corners where he can play that press man coverage, and he also can play good zone coverage. And like I said, he played under one of the better defensive coordinators in college football, and Brent Venables. He's probably one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinator in college football. He did a lot of different things, blitzed off the edge, like with cornerback blitzes. He did a good job, like I said, in coverage for the most part. It was sometimes when he had, a brain fart where he was trying to jump a route and being ultra aggressive, and it was a double move. But other than that, he's a great cornerback. He does have a chance to be the best cornerback in this particular draft, believe it or not. He does have a chance to be better than C.J. Henderson. He does have a chance to be better than Jeff Okudah. This kid's ceiling is very high because he's very athletic. Another kid that you guys know I've been talking about a lot lately is Cameron Dantzler out of the University of Mississippi State. And he has a similar play style to an Aj Terrell. Very tall, 6'2" for a corner, slender at like 188 pounds or 190 pounds. Same thing with Aj Terrell. Both of those guys' body types are similar. And like I said last night, I did think that we reached a little bit. I did put on Twitter that I think the Falcons were reaching for that pick because we really did need another corner. And I think they were just reaching because they seen a lot of the guys were flying off the boards. A lot of the cornerbacks were flying off the boards. And I think that they felt like they could go in later on in the draft and get a defensive end and get a defensive tackle. Now, what I will be looking for in this upcoming second and third round this evening, I'm going to be looking for our Atlanta Falcons to go in and get a nose tackle, a defensive tackle. Hopefully we can get Raekwon Davis out of Alabama. He's my favorite defensive tackle left on the board. If not Raekwon Davis out of Alabama, I want Ross Blacklock out of TCU. Both of those guys are excellent nose tackles, long arms, big. Raekwon Davis is the biggest out of all of them. He's 6'7", with very long arms, very big hands, and he's a very imposing figure, very physical, and that's somebody that I'm definitely interested in. Now, also, Neville Gallimore out of Oklahoma. He's another guy that's a sleeper later on in the draft, maybe in the third round. I can see the Falcons trying to get him. Now, another possibility in the second round for us would be going back to a name that we haven't heard in a while, which would be Aj Terrell. He's still a possibility for the Atlanta Falcons on the edge because he's a big guy and he can do multiple things just like a K'Lavon Chaisson. He can't drop into coverage, but you can use him on the edge. He's very good at setting the edge in a run, so you can use him as a pure defensive end, or you also can slide him in at the 3-tech on third down situations. You can place him right next to Grady Jarrett on blitzing situations, so you could possibly have Dante Fowler, Grady Jarrett, Aj Terrell, and Pat McKinley on one end. That could be your four guys that you rush and drop the rest of the players on third down if it's like a third and long situation. So I definitely would keep an eye on Aj Terrell because now that he's fell out of the first round and he didn't get drafted, now his stock is going to shoot up, and I'm sure he's probably going to be taken high in the second round. I can see a team like the New England Patriots trying to draft him because they love those bigger physical players. Bill Belichick really doesn't care so much about speed off the edge. He prefers those bigger guys that can play in a phone booth that's big and physical. Kind of like the guy Flowers that used to play with the Patriots, and now he plays with the Detroit Lions at defensive end. That's who Aj Terrell reminds me of. I think his name is Trey Flowers. He's really big, physical, plays defensive end, but can also play inside because he's so big. And that's what I think of when I think of Aj Terrell. I think of Trey Flowers that plays with the Detroit Lions. Very physical. Is good with using his hands. Doesn't really bend the edge that well. Is not really that flexible at bending the edge, and it's being a speed rusher, but mainly a physical bull rusher. And that's what I can definitely see in Aj Terrell's game. Now, a couple other players that I would look out for in the second round and third round tonight are Zach Bond out of the University of Wisconsin. He's another player that I really like to have on my draft board. And he reminds me a lot of the Pittsburgh Steelers' TJ Watt that also played at Wisconsin. He didn't play a lot with his hand in the dirt, but he can come off the edge in that 2-point stance and bring a lot of pressure. He also can drop back into coverage as like a pure linebacker and he also can play the pure linebacker role. So I would look out for Zach Bond because, like I said, he's another player that a lot of people were saying could have came off the board in the first round, later in the first round, but he didn't get drafted. So like I said, this is a very deep draft when it comes to outside linebackers, defensive backs, wide receivers. This is a very, very deep draft. Even with the nose tackles, it's a pretty deep draft this year, even though at the top with the cream of the crop, it's not a lot of great edge rushers like a Chase Young and a Caleb Von Chason and those guys that are the cream of the crop. It is a little bit of a drop off. But as far as the edge players, like when it comes to outside linebackers and those hybrid guys, it's a lot of guys that's still on the board at the hybrid position that can also come off the edge, like a Josh Uche out of Michigan. I also like Kenny Willekes at defensive end. Watch out for him, possibly in the later second round or early third round out of Michigan State. I can also see the Falcons trying to get him if Zach Bond or AJ Espinoza isn't around. He was another guy that I really liked, and I had him in both of my mock drafts. I really like Kenny Willekes out of Michigan State. He's one of those guys that is very physical. Is good off the edge, better than AJ Espinoza off the edge because he's a better athlete to me than AJ Espinoza. And if I could get my hands on Kenny Willekes, I definitely would suggest the Atlanta Falcons do that. Probably over AJ Espinoza just because of the pure athleticism and then also his motor. To me, AJ Espinoza's motor is average. He's not that bad. He's just really, really big and lumbersome. But I think that Kenny Willekes is not only athletic, but has that motor that never cuts off, kind of like a John Cominsky. He reminds me of a better version of a John Cominsky, a more athletic John Cominsky. So I definitely would keep our eyes on him. But like I said, it's a ton of guys still left on the draft board. Even safeties, I would keep an eye on the safeties. Antoine Winfield Jr. is another guy that I had who's a playmaker, and I could see the Falcons taking him in the second round. Grant Delpit out of LSU. Like I said, this draft is loaded. It's still a ton of playmakers in that in the second round and beyond that could possibly be starters on some teams or could definitely contribute to a team. I definitely think that Antoine Winfield Jr. could possibly be the starter. And I also think Grant Delpit could come right in day one and be a starter. Another player that I could look at on the back end in the safety role is Jeremy Chin. That dude is a beast, man. He reminds me of a Cam Chancellor, 6'3", 200 some pounds. I actually was someone in my chat box actually asked me about Jeremy Chin, told me to go check out his videos or check out his highlights, and I was really impressed with Jeremy Chin. I hadn't heard a ton about him because he played at a small school, I think Southern Illinois or something like that. But when I watched the dude's tape, I was very, very impressed with what he could do and his skill set. So with that being said, you guys definitely check it out this evening, the second and third round of the draft. I'm going to be watching. I'm definitely going to be active on Twitter, talking and stuff like that. But I'm definitely looking forward to the second round. Looking forward to tomorrow's, the players that's going to come off the draft board tomorrow. But I do think that there's still players in this current draft that can come in and have a role with our Atlanta Falcons this season that can come in and contribute. But as far as with the Aj Terrell being drafted in the first round, I didn't know that he was from the Atlanta area, so that's definitely probably a dream come true for him to be able to come back and play in the state that he was, born and raised in. That's definitely something that's really cool. And like I said, I definitely like, his ceiling. I definitely think he can be the number one corner for our team going forward. I can see him and Kendall Sheffield battling it out for that number one corner position. But I definitely think that this is also a wake-up call for someone like Isaiah Oliver, because that Isaiah Oliver can only play on the outside. He definitely is going to have to step his game up because he could possibly get beat out by both Sheffield, and I can also see him getting beat out by Aj Terrell. And I think the possible starters may be Aj Terrell and Kendall Sheffield. If Isaiah Oliver doesn't continue to improve. But with that being said, this has been your boy Jew. I'll holler at you guys in the next video. I probably have another video for you guys tomorrow, so I can talk a little bit about who we took in the second and third round. But I definitely enjoyed the first round of the draft. Like I said, I was kind of disappointed because they didn't get my boy Caleb Chase signed. So it doesn't look like I'll be able to get his jersey, because I definitely was going to buy his jersey. But you never know, I might get that Aj Terrell jersey because I am a fan of Aj Terrell. Like I said, in my first mock draft, I did have us drafting him. I just didn't see us reaching that 16 for him. But welcome to Atlanta, Aj Terrell. You know, we're definitely glad to have you. With that being said, this has been your boy Ju signing out. I'll holler at you guys in the next video. And as always, Falcons Nation, rise up. Peace.